I mean, I knew who Donald Sterling was. I had met him socially at events, civic events, and so I thought I would reach out to him privately. We actually found his home number still listed. And lo and behold, when I called Donald Sterling, he picked up the phone. And it was one of the most bizarre talks I've ever had. He started to explain himself, what it was like to meet this woman, how when a woman has you, in her clutches, you'll say and do anything. I patiently listened to his side of the story, but then I said, look, you're wearing our city's name on the jerseys of your team. And I think you need to think about this might be a good time to sell your team.
The Miami Heat showing solidarity with the Clippers over the Donald Sterling controversy before Monday's game with the Bobcats. Just as the Clippers did on Sunday, the Heat running out of the tunnel, wearing their warm-ups, huddling at center court, tossing their shooting shirts to the ground. And now the question becomes, what action can the league take?
I didn't know what was going to happen because he was new. Who knows what a David Stern would have did, but Adam Silver is, I think, 2 months on the job. You know what I mean? So this is a hell of a entrance to one of the biggest jobs in the world.
What do you do with an owner who you have on tape disparaging African Americans and the league's overwhelmingly made up by African American players? There's a million and one ways that Adam Silver could have gotten this wrong.
Let's keep in mind that the commissioner answers to the owners. Let's keep in mind that in order for the commissioner to get rid of an owner, he has to have a cadre of other members of the ownership group, the Board of Governors, that sign off on getting rid of that owner. And the owners are going to protect their owns because if it's him today, who's it going to be tomorrow?
In no uncertain terms am I supporting what Donald Sterling said, but in terms of should we kick him out, and go outside of the Constitution, should we start taking steps to condemn people for what they say in the privacy of their own home that just happens to be recorded? That's the slippery slope I don't want to get on.
The owners are my bosses. They serve as the board of the NBA. And so the owners, of course, they hire and fire me. And if a majority of the owners got together and no longer wanted me to serve as commissioner, I wouldn't be here anymore. But these 4 days, there had been so much focus on Donald Sterling. I felt the league needed to move fast so that the circumstances didn't overtake us.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it now?
Between Game 4 and Game 5, there was a rally at City Hall in Los Angeles with the mayor, with former players.
Today we stand as Angelinos, as angels in this city, saying that we will not tolerate this from anybody, from any company, least of all one that bears this great city's name. To me, this was of course about basketball, but it really wasn't about basketball. This was about the city. This was really about our children and those who are looking at us from the outside. Mr. Sterling seems so out of touch with the 21st century Los Angeles, a city that struggled through so many things, from the Watts riots to Rodney King. This wasn't just something that was the responsibility of black players to speak out about or civil rights activists, but every single one of us.
I feel like there's not a lot of moments where you can't even twist it. There's no nuance. There was no, you gotta hear both sides.
At no point could he be like, I was taken out of context.
Yeah, it's like, bruh, we got...
This is your context.
All of a sudden, it was everybody jumping off the ship as fast as they could.
Sprint, Virgin America, Mercedes-Benz, and Red Bull. Just some of the latest companies to announce they'll suspend their sponsorship at the LA Clippers.
We'd gotten word that Game 5 was going to be unlike anything we'd seen in the NBA in a long time, that the arena was going to be blacked out. There weren't going to be any advertisers. All that stuff was going to be gone because nobody wanted to be a part of this brand. It must have been hell in their sales office that day.
I get a call at 8 a.m. from our human resources guy. Doc, I need you to come downtown. And I said, for what? He said, you have to. We're about to have an employee walkout. These employees downtown are on the front line. They have to take all the calls. They're calling our employees Uncle Tom. They're screaming at him, I want my tickets back. I talked to Adam maybe a couple times prior, but that was my first distress call. And I said, Adam, I need some help here. We're taking on some water. And he said, Doc, I just need you to hang in there.
Players for the Clippers had the day off from practice on Monday. Doc Rivers said, I just felt like they needed to breathe.
you know, we're going home now, and usually that would mean we're going to our safe haven. And I don't even know if that's true.
Speed was so important here because, number one, we were in the middle of the playoffs, and the Clippers were in the playoffs. I was talking to Doc Rivers. I was talking to Chris Paul, who not only was one of the stars of the Clippers, but the president of our Players Association.
Chris takes that position very seriously. He values his role as a leader, so there was definite pressure on him to say and do the right things.
On behalf of the National Basketball Players Association, this is a very serious issue which we will address aggressively. We have asked Mayor Kevin Johnson to expand his responsibilities with the NBPA to determine our response and our next steps.
I'm going to give an awful lot of credit to Chris Paul. He was a star on this man's very team. And even though Chris Paul was not saying much publicly, privately, he was behind the scenes trying to get all of this done.
The Players Association president is a Clipper, Chris Paul. He reached out to me, said, look, Mayor, it's severe and we need to be aggressive to get to the bottom of this. I had a private meeting with Commissioner Adam Silver yesterday, but it's very clear that the players want swift and decisive action.
We're fighting to get an owner out of our league that shouldn't be a part of our league. And no matter how long it takes, no matter how much money it costs.
I was just in the locker room 3-4 days ago. LeBron and I talked about it. He ain't playing if Sterling is still an owner.
These guys were threatening to boycott. They were talking about not participating in the postseason. They had to trust that Adam Silver was going to do the right thing.
I think Adam Silver realized when it comes to matters like this, you have to make a business decision. Donald Sterling can only drag you down. You got LeBron for another decade, and you got these other players who are rising to prominence in this league. And so you are much better off siding with them than Donald Sterling. You don't want to be remembered for that.
And there is a live look at the podium where the commissioner will address the sports world as a whole and speak about what, if any, penalties he'll hand down to LA Clippers owner Donald Sterling.
I thought the players had, frankly, checkmated the league.